Never back down and never stop coding. The purpose of our code is to simulate a gaslighting scenario in a controlled environment. So we're going to prompt the user for input. Start by asking the user a series of questions to gather initial data such as their name, age, and preferences. And the second, display initial feedback. Provide immediate feedback based on the user's input to build trust. So this feedback will seem normal and friendly. And then the third step, gradually introduce minor inconsistency in the feedback or information displayed to the user, slightly altering what they initially provided. Fourth step, ask followed-up questions. Continue to ask more questions, including follow-ups based on their initial answers, but subtly alter the phrasing to create doubt about their memory. Fifth step, implement conditional logic. Use if else, else if, and else statement to control the flow based on user response. For example, if the user agrees with the manipulated feedback, continue with similar tactics. If the user disagrees or expresses confusion, offer a pleasurable explanation that still manipulates their perception. All the major data types include primitive data types. Java has 8 primitive data types. Byte. A byte is an 8-bit signed integer. A short is a 16-bit signed integer. Int, a 32-bit signed integer. A long is a 64-bit integer. A float is a 32-bit floating point number used for decimal number with less precision than double. Double, a 64-bit floating point number used for high-precision decimal values. Char, a 16-bit Unicode character. Boolean represents a binary value, true or false. An if conditional checks a condition and decides what code to run based on whether it's true or false. An example is that at a traffic light, if it's green, you go. If it's red, you stop. In my code, I used an if statement to see if the user's age response matches their earlier input, triggering different responses based on whether it matches or not. An if-else conditional lets your program choose between two actions based on whether a condition is true or false. An example is if it's raining, you take an umbrella, else you don't. In my code, I used if else to check if the user's response matches their earlier answer. If it does, you conform. Else, you just suggest they might have said something different. An if else conditional checks multiple conditions in sequence, choosing the first one that's true. An example is if it's raining, you take an umbrella. Else, if it's cloudy, you might bring one just in case. Else, you leave it at home. In my code, for if else, it could handle more than two options, like checking if the user's response was a yes, no, or something else entirely. And here's the code. The problem we had was using the if-else code, and we didn't know how it works, so we had to watch some AP Classroom videos, and we got it to work. Our code is better because it's simple, and you could gaslight anyone you want by just giving him or her this code and to use it. And here is our code working the process.